This is a very quick explanation of how the goal rig works in EZPZ Toolkit. So it's made up of a bunch of components, and I'll talk about the key ones. The first one to think about is this goal detector. So essentially what this is doing is it's checking to see if something has gone through it. And you can see that it's running this onTrigger event. It's then talking to another component called the points keeper. And the job of the points keeper is to basically keep track of the points. So every time something goes inside the ball detector, we can see that it's talking to a component called number holder in the points keeper object, and it will keep adding 1 to this value over here. These display parameters control what's actually being shown on the text over here, because sometimes you want to have extra things other than just the score. Let's just have a look at how that works quickly. The suffix essentially is whatever you want to add at the end of the text or at the end of the display. So that could be piggies if you wanted it to. I just add an extra space there, so there's an extra space. And then the prefix is the same kind of thing. Okay, so let's just reset that to their original settings so it makes sense. And if we put an object through this now, we can see how that sequence of events follows through. So we have 1 point, 2 points, 3 points, 4 points, and then something very special happens when we get to 5 points, and I'll explain why that happens. Winner! I guess it's not really that special, but the way that works is using the same mechanisms. We still have the interactable trigger object over here, and you can see that there is a second command for the onTrigger enter event. It talks to the win checker. And what this win checker command is doing, where say check number, is it's checking to see if this number over here has any special relationship to the current value that this value has. And the event that's happening right now is if it's greater to or equal to 5, then it will activate this message here, you win. You can see currently in edit mode it's activated, but when we press play it gets deactivated because we don't always need it. So just take a look at what happens down here. When it starts, the counter will start running down, and once it reaches 0, that gets deactivated, and that's exactly what happened there. Its whole job is to just indicate whether someone's reached the 5 points. So if we just go ahead and repeat that sequence again, meow, meow, meow. And then 1 more point for it to win. You can see that this bit will get activated, and then this countdown will start counting down, and then that's the thing that gives us that pop-up effect. So look, you win. Cool. And then you can see at the end of the clock 0 here, we deactivate ourselves, so the message goes away, and then we can see that we talk to the points keeper over here, and then it resets the points to 0. Now that whole sequence of events can be described by this diagram over here. So we can see that our user is interacting with an object, in this case it's a ball, and then the ball itself interacts with the ball detector object, which has the EZPZ interactable trigger. So when the ball activates the trigger, this onTrigger enter event will get activated. And then you can see that it has 2 commands, as you would have seen back here. So it has 2 commands over here. And those commands go to the points keeper, which adds the value to the number holder here. So that's essentially adding 1 point. And then the second command is for us to check to see if we've actually reached the winning number, which is 5 points. And every time that happens, this gets added to that, and then also we check to see if we've reached the winning score, which is 5. So once we've reached the winning score, what happens is that this on greater than or equal to event gets activated in the number check utility. And then we're activating the message object, you win, and we can see that we're talking to the game object set active equals true. That's the thing that turns it on. And then the message is shown for 2 seconds because this EZPZ countdown event has a starting time of 2. And then when that reaches clock 0, it deactivates the object that holds the message. And at the same time, it also resets the score to 0, and that means we can play the game again. And that's how the goal works.